So welcome back, you guys. In this environmental science video, we're going to talk about forest management. So to start off, we're going to talk about forest regions in North America. There are 8 major regions. There's the northern coniferous forest is the largest region, and it produces large amounts of pulpwood. Pulpwood being products that are used for paper, trees under 12 inches in diameter, usually a lot smaller trees. There's the Pacific Coast Forest is the most productive of the forest regions and has some of the largest trees in the world. The Douglas fir is one of the most important commercially grown trees there is. Southern forests, their most important trees are conifers, but there are some hardwoods that have great economic importance as well. It has great potential for meeting the future lumber and pulpwood needs in the U.S. So these southern forests are very important to the United States economy. So there's trees that are available. There's two different types. There's conifers and hardwoods. Under conifers, we have a couple different species. There's the Virginia pine, the loblolly pine. There's shortleaf pine, the longleaf pine, and slash pines. Under hardwoods, we will see the oak, the poplar, maple, and walnut. And I'll show you how you can identify some of these species and pictures of them in a little bit. So right here in this illustration, you can see the different forest regions throughout North America. You can see that we're wrapped up over here in 7 right here. Importance of forests. There's a couple different importances that forests carry. There's recreation. If you've ever been to the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina, there's hiking available, and then hunting is also important throughout the state of North Carolina and the United States where forests exist. So hunting in forests has been a popular pastime for many people. There's also wood products, so lumber, pulpwood, and many other things used for wood products in the United States. They serve as a wildlife habitat. We talked about how wildlife and different wildlife available in North Carolina, and many of those wildlife rely on the forest to survive. It acts as a filter as well. So forests are important for producing air through the process of photosynthesis. Produces us oxygen, and then also water. It filters water, so as water flows through a forest, even into our groundwater system, and even off into a stream or ocean, the tree roots act as a filter for that water. Silviculture. We talked about many careers earlier dealing with silviculture. It is a scientific forest management techniques. So managing growing timber, there's two main methods. There's prescribed thinning. It's recommended to remove some trees when competition slows the growth of all trees. For instance, if you have a lot of small trees in a stand, you have larger trees that are blocking out the sunlight, or even their roots are competing for growth with the smaller trees, you may want to take out those larger trees and open up the forest for the smaller trees to mature. And so that's what prescribed thinning is. You go through and you thin out the forest. Prescribed burning is used to reduce the risk of wildfires by eliminating forest litter. This should be done professionally. These forest litter serves as a fuel for wildfires, and so by burning it off prematurely, it's actually going to help prevent wildfires in the future. So, more on silviculture, there's harvesting timber. As you can see in the image on the right, you see a clear cut where all that wood was harvested straight to the ground. Everything was taken. That's not thinning or selection. So clear cutting is a system of harvesting trees where all the trees in the area are harvested. And then there's selection cutting, which is where you're going to go through a forest and you're going to selectively cut different trees of different ages and species. Maybe all the mature ones that you want to harvest and allow the younger ones to grow up. Replacing trees. Replanting seedlings is a sure method of replacing trees. So you can go out and plant little smaller tree seedlings, essentially baby trees, and that will replenish that forest. Or the cheapest method, at no cost to you and actually barely any labor, is going to be natural seeding. And so the trees will naturally seed out, and you'll allow that forest stand to grow up. So identification of some important tree species in North Carolina. There's conifers. These conifers are softwoods. They're woods not hard, hence the name softwoods. They're needle-type evergreens. There's Fraser fir, there's loblolly pine, and longleaf pine. And you can see many conifers in the image on the right. The Fraser fir. Its use is most importantly commercially grown Christmas tree in North Carolina mountains. You can see it right here. If you ever bought a live tree, you most likely bought a Fraser fir. Its ID, in order to identify it, it's dark green, a ½ inch to inch long, singular needle. Loblolly pine. Its use is pulpwood, mainly for paper, and plywood, so boards that are pieced together to make these larger 4 foot by 8 foot sheets of plywood. And then as to its identification, there's bundles of 3 needles put together. You can actually see it in this right image right here. Needles 6 to 9 inches long. The longleaf pine. Its use is lumber, pulpwood, and plywood. In order to identify it, there's 3 needles per bundle or cluster, and these needles, hence the name longleaf, are 8 to 18 inches long. Hardwoods. Hardwood trees, these deciduous trees, for example, we have the ash, we have the white oak, and we have the red maple. So the ash. The ash is used to make baseball bats and handles. In order to identify it, it has an opposite pinnately compound leaf. And I'll show you some examples in class of this. The white oak, its use is for flooring and furniture. This is most likely if you live in your house, you have your flooring is made out of an oak of some sort, and much of your furniture may be made out of oak. Its identification has an alternate arrangement in its pinnately lobed leaves. The red maple is known for its fall color. Its use is lumber, veneer, and cabinets. Its identification, it's an opposite arrangement. It's palmately lobed, and it's 3 to 5 lobes per leaf, and is known for its red petioles. So the measurement of trees and lumber. In order to measure different types of trees is done differently depending if you're doing pulpwood, sawtimber, or lumber. In pulpwood, you have the DBH, the diameter breast height, and its merchantable height in feet and cords. Sawtimber, you have diameter breast height, DBH, is 16-foot logs, and its board feet. In lumber, you have 1 board foot equals 144 cubic inches. So, there at the bottom you can see it, diameter breast height. DBH is a standard method of expressing a diameter of a trunk or bole of a standing tree. So next time we're going to talk about some tools used in forestry, and we'll wrap up the environmental science unit.